Town down in Montego Bay. Well, oh, girl, we've been streams to the making, steel and stone never breaking. From the San Francisco we elevate, Design Jamaica dominate.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Design Jamaica. In this video, we head to the history parish, St. Catherine, to be more specific, Old Harbour, the energy town, as we continue our series, Redesigning Our Townships. We are redesigning the town of Old Harbour as a city.
Jamaican small town vibe coming soon to your life. Explore the land of culture too. We bring it all to you. Demographics tell.
Okay, so first of all, it's the first video of 2026 here on DJC and all of Films by Jawade's YouTube unit. And even though we did say Happy New Year before we left 2025, we still have to tell you Happy New Year now that we're in 2026. So I hope and I pray that it will be a very productive and a prosperous year both for us, the creators, and for you, the viewers and the subscribers. Okay, so with the New Year greetings and celebrations out of the way, why are we here? We are here to redesign the town of Old Harbour. Believe it or not, and as simple as it may look, this is one of Jamaica's most important towns. And I'm going to give you all 5 seconds to guess why. I'm looking at my clock. Want to guess yet? Come up with the answer? Well, let me tell you, this is where most of Jamaica's energy production is created. Believe it or not, 60% of the energy you use, the energy I use, was generated in Old Harbour. Not Kingston, not Spanish Town, not Montego Bay. Well, more specifically Old Harbour Bay, but Old Harbour Bay literally is a part of Old Harbour. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Or is it? Well, we're going to find that out later. Nevertheless, statistics have shown that Old Harbour is one of Jamaica's fastest growing towns. Between 2011 and 2025, the population of Old Harbour have grown from 26k residents to now just under 30k residents, making it the 7th largest populous area in Jamaica, just behind Mandeville, which is at number 6, and just ahead of Linstead at number 8. 7th largest populous area, 7th largest town, 7th largest city. Well, Google says city, because you know everything for Google is city. And I rather say city too. Yes, so whoever you ask and whichever way you see it, it is the 7th largest of its kind in Jamaica. The few populous areas in Jamaica that is growing faster than Old Harbour is of course Kingston and Portmore. So believe it or not, Old Harbour is growing faster than every other town in Jamaica. With this fast growth, if continues, Old Harbour is projected to reach 50k residents by 2050, surpassing towns like Mandeville and Maypen, which are growing at much slower rate. Old Harbour is a part of the Penn Harbour conurbation area, which is a sparsely populated area stretching all the way from Cookspen in St. Catherine westward all the way through to Clarendon Park in Clarendon, which also includes Old Harbour's bigger sister, Maypen, to the west. Believe it or not, Old Harbour and Maypen are closely connected. They share a lot, from transportation to commerce to any industry you can think of. These two towns share a lot. Together they are closely knit. Reason why this entire area is called Penn Harbour, taking part of the names of both towns. A matter of fact, there's a place right there in Sandy Bay, Clarendon, that is halfway between Maypen and Old Harbour geographically, that is called Penn Harbour. So that is where the name actually came from. And on this map you can actually see where the suburbs of Maypen and the suburbs of Old Harbour are actually kissing each other right on the Clarendon border, fighting for Longville Park. So right now Longville Park is in a tug-of-war between both towns to see which town it should actually be a part of in terms of being a suburb, just as how Jacksall is right now in a tug-of-war between St. Anne's Bay and Ocho Rios. Even though I really don't see where Ocho Rios is going to win this one. Yeah, but anyway. Okay, so you get the drift of that one. Now back to Old Harbour. Now earlier before that segment, we talk about growth and how Old Harbour is growing at a very fast pace. population-wise. And I'm going to show you why in a bit. But first, we must look at the niche, which is the economical niche of Old Harbour, which is energy. That's right, energy production. Now, Old Harbour, specifically Old Harbour Bay to the south of the town, is home to 3 of Jamaica's largest energy producers, which is Jamaica Public Service, JPSCO, the Jamaica Energy Partners, JEP, and TSK Energy. All 3 companies combined produces 65% of the electricity me and you use in Jamaica on a daily basis. And just to notify that these 3 companies has other plants in other areas of Jamaica like Kingston, but I'm not talking those. I'm talking right here at Old Harbour Bay. In this one area, 65% of the electricity you use is produced right here. And I used to work on this very plant, so I know. And to expound on the economics of this town, Old Harbour is not just known for energy production, it is also known for logistics. As you know, the town has a port at Port Esquivel that ships bauxite alumina to the international market that is produced at Windalco's Yuatan plant. Yuatan plant, like them have more than one plant, like they never locked down the Kirkland plant years ago. Anyway, moving on. And it had done this. So outside of those 2 industries, Old Harbour also has manufacturing, as it is home to 2 of Jamaica's largest chicken feed producers, Hypro and which other one? Nutrimix? Well, it is also home to Jamaica Boilers, which is not far away over in Macookspin. And as you know, even though this one is not in Old Harbour or even in St. Catherine, we have CB Chicken over there in Longville Park. Just like we did telling you earlier, where Mapen and Old Harbour is trying to claim Longville Park as a suburb. Well, so they both claim CB. Moving on. So just to show you that Old Harbour, I don't know, Pia town, it's a very wealthy town. Money there. Not to mention the growing housing developments that has been happening in and around the town over the past decades or 2. You're talking about housing developments like Clearman Heights, Colbeck Manor, the Avery, and the New Harbour Villages, bringing a modern and cozy suburban style living to the town, attracting middle-class residents to reside in Old Harbour. And I can personally tell you that the New Harbour Villages came along with the inception of Highway 2000. Trust me, I don't think Highway 2000 had benefited any other town or city the way it had benefited Old Harbour in terms of modern infrastructural development. I mean, its neighbor to the west, Maypen, certainly had not seen even half the amount of benefits that Old Harbour have seen thanks to this highway. I mean, driving along this very same corridor in Maypen, a Bushy Alukpan, you don't even know you're passing through a town. Unlike Old Harbour, where you're seeing development. And let me inform you from now that Maypen will be the next town that we will be redesigning in the series, so we'll speak more on that in that video. And with the fact that we are now on Highway 2000, we don't want to forget that the segment between Sandy Bay that goes through Old Harbour all the way to Church Pen, not too far away, is a flagship segment of Highway 2000, meaning that this was the inaugural segment of the highway. It first started here, and I don't know if any of you remember, maybe the older heads, the younger people probably would not remember, but I was young then, I was really young, but I certainly remember when this segment of the highway it started out with just 2 lanes, and it was called the Old Harbour Bypass. If you remember that, raise a hand in the comment section. That's right, so Jamaica's toll road network started here in Old Harbour. Okay, so with all of that said, now we can clearly understand the reason why Old Harbour has been growing. The population of Old Harbour has been growing really fast over the last 2 decades. And the town is not just growing in population, it is also growing in size, geographical size. So what we're going to do right now is go to our customized Design Jamaica Google Map to break it down for you. So as we zoom in on the town of Old Harbour, the first thing we know is Google's wrong impression of Jamaica, thinking that little circle alone is Old Harbour. Oh Lord. Anyway, we got to address this. People, that the little something there with them say a Old Harbour is not Old Harbour. This is Old Harbour. Now that is just an insult, a total insult to Old Harbour and its people. And I am from Maypen, and trust me, it burn me heart every time I open Google Maps and see the little something where them say I'm Maypen. We need a video to really call out Google. Anyway, moving on. So as you can see from above, Old Harbour does not really need a lot of work in terms of gridding, because the town have a suburban style layout going on for it, which is, it works so well. It works quite fine for the town. I do believe it looks so organized. I love it so much. I would not change anything when it concerning those housing developments. I would not change a thing. What I would change though is the current area they have that is called the town's CBD. This, the town center. I call it a urban chokehold. And if you have been to Old Harbour and have been in this area, drive through the town or whatever, you know what I'm talking about. If you live in the town, you certainly know what I'm talking about. So as you can see, before Old Harbour became the busy commercial area that it is known for today, it was just a little village, you know, the same concept that we talk about where you just look on a place and say, okay, we're going to put a town here. You plant one little clock in the middle. You have a main street. You have one street going north, one going south with some little turn off, something.
So a little wiggly, spaghetti, something.
Thanks, LaSharah.
Yeah.
Like most of our townships, the Old Harbour Town Centre is no different. It looks even worse than St. Anne's Bay and many other towns that we have covered. The only thing I would see that is not bad about the area is those streets, those turn-off, which are some straight streets. And if we didn't have those, if the area was not so built up, we could have easily create a proper grid for the area. But this is one of the concepts where we can say we're gone by the morning, can't come with the evening. This is one of them. Just too late.
Mercy
God. Thanks, LaSharah. So for now, we are scrap that. We're gonna come back to it later because it will be a part of the entire concept. But for now, we gotta scrap that. So at this juncture, what Old Harbour need is a brand new downtown, a brand new area, new untouched lands to build a proper downtown, a proper new and well-designed CBD, somewhere to the west of the town, somewhere out here, just north of the Avery and just east of this development that we see that is separated from everything else right here out west near to the Clarendon border. Yes. And I know some of you are going to say, but those are prime agricultural lands. We can't touch the farmland. Them are where the farmer never go farm. Hello. No matter how much we build, Jamaica can't run out of agricultural land. Jamaica is 90% forested. Just 10% built up. Remember that? Also no? Well, it's actually 60% and the rest built up anyway. That's right. So out here on these prime lands is where we're going to build a new and improved downtown for the energy city, Old Harbour. And as we zoom out, you can see the new development, that new housing development that is happening out there to the west of the town, that is separated from the rest of the town. Yeah, so I guess it's going to be a part of the entire thing. It is Old Harbour 2. I don't know what's the name of it, but we're going to find out. If any one of you know, let me know. In the Black River video, quite a few mentioned that I should also include, I should go a little bit in depth. Well, you want me to go really in depth of the sewage network for the utilities and so forth and so forth and so forth. Well, I can't go all the way in depth or else the video is going to be too long, but we're going to touch a bit of it also. Yes, so here we go. Designing a brand new, sleek, smart, central business district, downtown Old Harbour. Here we go.
We bring it all to you. Demographics tales unfold, stories shared both new and old. Geography paints the scene, villages so fresh and clean, sprawling heights so bold and true, with your plains and golden hue, another bay where waves collide.
All right, so here you can see that we have two arterial boulevards, one running north-south and one running east-west. We have Old Harbour Boulevard with the little circle in the middle with the energy circle. Right around it you will have the municipal corporation. Well, not the municipal corporation, because Old Harbour would have to be its own thing, because remember, Old Harbour is not a parish capital, and Old Harbour would become a city of its own, so it would have its own system of government, its own mayor, its own municipal corporation. So this little circle right here would be where you find everything concerning government, from the corporation to libraries to a police station. Everything within that circle concerning government, that is where you'll find anything concerning government. Thus, just east of that circle is where we would find a large park called the Old Harbour Greens. And just to notify you that if you notice that this downtown is off the main A2 road, it's not on the A2 road like the current square, like the current Old Harbour Square is on, that, you know, cause a whole lot of traffic and, you know, that real madness that is going on right there right now. We ensure that we are building this downtown off that road. So you have two main boulevards that leads you off the main A2 road into the downtown area. You have the A2 business, which runs east to west, and you have the Old Harbour Boulevard, which runs north to south. And this same Old Harbour Boulevard would lead you out of the downtown area that connects all the way further north to the road that is now known as Darlington Street. So for those who are coming from Colbeck and want to get into the downtown area, they wouldn't have to go through Old Harbour proper. They could just take this road and come straight into downtown Old Harbour. And the end goal also is to expand this same boulevard all the way into Old Harbour Bay. So if you want to get into downtown Old Harbour, you wouldn't have to go on the current existing road that you use to get from Old Harbour Bay into Old Harbour Town. You could just get on the boulevard and get straight into downtown without going through the current Old Harbour proper. Right, so Old Harbour Boulevard would become the longest continuous street within the city of Old Harbour. And if you can notice that you also have an entrance from the Avery housing development into the downtown area as well. And via the Avery Avenue, this little avenue would be called the Avery Avenue. And to the end of that avenue out west, just before you get into the hills, is a cemetery, because every city must have a public cemetery, and currently Old Harbour doesn't have any. So yes, we have to build one for the city. And of course, a hospital have to come into the mix. You must have a hospital and all the essential basic services, the fire brigade and everything is there right there in downtown. So yes, and as you know, this hospital would be a type C facility because Old Harbour is between Maypen and Spanish Town. You know, Maypen would have a type B hospital because that hospital would soon be upgraded to a type B, and also Spanish Town would be a type A. So if you have a type B hospital further west and you have a type A to the east, you really don't need another type B or A hospital right here in Old Harbour. A type C will do. And as you can see, within the downtown area, we have to add some residential and the mixed use spaces. To the northwest over here, right beside the Avery, would be, you know, there you'd have more housing schemes being built. Also to the south of that, right next to the Avery there, this would be an industrial area. So certain developments such as factories, BPO centers, and all of that would be in this area. Also to the southeast of the downtown area would be more residential, and to the northwest of the downtown, in the northwest of the downtown, would be mixed use between commercial and residential. But where you are seeing these big buildings would be like commercial buildings, government buildings, malls, plazas, one or two hotels, because make if you understand that Old Harbour also plays a part in Airbnb. Yes. Plus, as you know, Old Harbour is an energy town. You have the energy plants further south down in Old Harbour Bay, and also the other industrial facilities nearby. So sometimes persons come into the town and want somewhere to stay, and they either have to stay in Kingston or probably go all the way to Mandeville to find somewhere to stay. So they could just stay right here in Old Harbour if they have hotel rooms. Yes, so that's the core business, the central business district for Old Harbour, aka downtown Old Harbour. So now we're going to zoom out, and we are going to design the rest of the city and connect it with the downtown area.
Avocado takes you on a ride through the towns we love with pride. From the hills down to the sea, every spot fills you with glee. Spalding Heights so bold and true, Wakefield Plains in golden hue. Another bay where waves collide. Money dreams so deep and wide. Jamaican small town vibe, coming soon to your life. Explore the land of culture too. We bring it all to you. Demographics tales unfold, stories shared both new and old. Geography paints the scene, villages so fresh and clean. Spalding Heights so bold and true.
Okay, so on this map it shows you the 11 communities of Old Harbour. You have Old Harbour Town Centre, then you have Old Harbour Villas, you have Road and Spend, New Harbour, which is the largest because you have the different villages, New Harbours 1 through to 4. Over in the east, you have Harbour Town, and we're expecting, that is non-existent at the moment, so we're expecting that more housing communities will be in these areas. Then you have New Bodles, New Harbour, downtown itself, Avery, because it consists of more than just one housing development. Further up, you have Darlington Spring. Up in the northwest, you have New Colbeck. And up in the northwest, you have Claremont. And I said New Harbour Villas already. Yes, and Town Centre, which is the present CBD of Old Harbour, which is a mess. Yes, so nothing can be done to that area, so it has to remain as is, and that's the reason why we had to design a whole new downtown for Old Harbour out west. And based on how we were looking at the current naked map currently in present day, you can almost see the layout of where new housing developments are coming in the outskirts of the town. So we are looking at especially for New Harbour. Over here we already have existing. We have New Harbours 1, 2 and 3 over this side. To the east and to the west we have New Harbour Village 4. I'm thinking that probably going to have a 5 and 6 sometime in the future over here. And then over here I think there are some farms and some things there, and you have the rail line running between the highway and those acres of land there. We are also projecting that new housing developments also will be coming to this area, so we are going to call that side Harbour Town. That's what we are calling it. I'm sure the developers are not going to call it that, but that's what we're calling it for now. And further out we have New Bodles, next to the Bodles area on the outskirts of Old Harbour. Further up we have West Harbour and also New Colbeck. These are the areas that we are, and Darlington Spring. So these are the areas that we are expecting new housing developments. And in the existing form we have the Avery. It's not the Avery. I have to correct myself because all this time I thought it was just the Avery, but it's the Aviary or the Aviary. Yes. So that's the Aviary. The Aviary itself is a development of itself. And then further up on Darlington Drive we have another development. I'm not sure if it's the same name or it's a different development, but both housing developments will be known as Aviary. Yes, so we are combining both housing developments as one community. And of course you can see the new roadways being built, especially for the downtown area, Old Harbour Boulevard, which stretches all the way from Colbeck into Old Harbour Bay. And we have the A2 business that spurs off the A2 main road or East Street. And this was built to facilitate east-west traffic heading from the A2 main road into downtown and want to get back out to go into the town center. Man, it would be so nice to have this street stretching all the way out east into Claremont, but the core of the town is already so built up with a bad design, so that's impossible. But we wish it could have happened, because this new spur route would have enabled you to bypass the current town center or the square where the clock and the stoplight is. Yes, which always have traffic because of for various reasons, because toward the place set up and congested and choke up and all of that. So if we had space to design that spur route all the way into Claremont and rejoin the A2 in Church Pen, that would be so nice. But like we've mentioned before, in the case of Old Harbour, we're gone by the morning. Thanks LaSharah. And now here's a map of the entire Old Harbour city limits and its suburbs. To the south we have Old Harbour Bay. So Old Harbour Bay is its own thing. It is not a part of the town of Old Harbour. Okay, so Old Harbour Bay is a suburb of Old Harbour. To the southwest we have Bodles. To the north we have Colbeck. To the northeast we have Big Pond and the Church Pen, and to the east we have Vineyards Estate. And for the main thoroughfares, we have Highway 2000 East-West, the T1, then we have the A2 Main Road, which is East Street from the clock into Church Pen, West Street from the clock into downtown. And we have the A2 Business, and of course the Old Harbour Boulevard, which stretches from Colbeck all the way into Old Harbour Bay. And if you really look at the map, if you're traveling from Colbeck, Old Harbour Boulevard is really for you to bypass the mess if you're heading into Old Harbour Bay, or if you want to head further west toward Maypen. And of course we have the A2 Business Route. And yes, we have also designed the city logo for Old Harbour, the city of Old Harbour, St. Catherine, Jamaica, in the Jamaican colors with a big white O in the middle. We have like a carrying hands with, you know, some city buildings, some high-rise buildings in the background. And just in the upper left of the white circle, we have a purple circle with a high-tension power pole signifying what Old Harbour really represents: power. Energy. But of course, most of Jamaica's energy production is being generated on the outskirts of the city over in Old Harbour Bay, so why not? And of course, being that Old Harbour will be its own thing, which means it will have its own government separately from the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation. It will not be a part of that corporation. It will be a separate thing, just like Portmore. The only difference is that in Portmore's situation, it is very contrary. You have the only thing Portmore really has that you can say belongs to Portmore is the mayor. But the councillors is still a part of the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation. Well, we don't want Old Harbour to be like that. We want Old Harbour to have its own mayor with its own councillors that is not a part of St. Catherine. This is the main reason why I think Portmore should become a parish and be separated from the rest of St. Catherine. Too contrary. Anyway, back to Old Harbour. So the Old Harbour Municipal Corporation would be like this. You have 5 councillors representing the 5 divisions of Old Harbour: East, West, North, South, and the Town Centre. From those 5 councillors elected by the people, the ruling majority would then choose a mayor. Just like it currently is right now at the parish level, it's just that Old Harbour's system is separated from the parish system. And if you notice, it is different from the system that we set up for Black River, where Black River, the mayor of Black River would still be a part of the St. Elizabeth Municipal Corporation, but the mayor would be directly elected by the people, separated from the rest of the parish, which is headed by a chairman. In Old Harbour's case, we are separating it entirely from St. Catherine, making it a city municipality with its councillors elected by the people, and then the majority ruling councillors would choose their mayor. So for instance, if the majority of councillors winning the election is 3, 4, or the entire 5, then those 5, 3, or 4 councillors would form the government, the city government, and they would choose the mayor, whether it be JLP or PNP. And we have to do it this way because remember, Old Harbour is not the capital of St. Catherine. If it was the capital, then we could easily make it similar to what we designed for St. Elizabeth and Black River. And of course, we don't want to create a new parish because really that just irrelevant. We are not about creating parishes. We are about creating properly governed cities. So wow, what an episode. We didn't plan to make it so long, but we have to explain the thing properly to you so you can understand what we are about. So unfortunately, it's 30 minutes and we can just imagine how long the Maypen video will be, because Maypen is a bigger story, so we probably will have to do 2 parts for Maypen. But it's all been explained. There's really nothing more to explain to you. Just leave your thoughts in the comments and tell me what you think. And do you think Old Harbour really deserve to be revamped and redesigned into a city? And if you notice, we are focusing on the CBDs, and in the case of Old Harbour, the whole thing, what is presently there, doesn't work, so we have to just scrap that and totally design a brand new downtown for the city of Old Harbour. But in the case of creating new cities, don't get it twisted though, not all townships that we're covered will become cities, because we don't want to just turning every single town into a city. They have to have substance. And just to take note, we will not be covering every single city or townships, like Kingston, Portmore, Spanish Town will not be covered, because those cities already have a properly they have a design that works, so we will not be touching those cities and towns. Mandeville and Montego Bay needs touching, but they are too far gone in development, so there's literally nothing that can be done to them. No, the correction can't be made. It's just too late. Mandeville and Montego Bay really needs to be redesigned, especially Mandeville, but their CBDs are too far developed, and there's no space, so we can't touch those either. In the case of Montego Bay, one of our subscribers was pointing out lands in the Barnet area and in the outskirts where they're building the bypass. Well, we are going to take a second look at Montego Bay and see if we can create something like a Bucket Atlanta. So look out for that. We are no longer going to ask you which town we should redesign next, because you don't participate. So Maypen is next. Look out for Maypen, dropping January 10th. So until then, I am your host, Bro.
And I'm LaSharah.
See you in our next video. This has been Design Jamaica. If you or anyone you know are about content like these, and would love to see more content like this one on wide-scale development across Jamaica, please go ahead and like, share, subscribe to Design Jamaica and the Caribbean. Leave a comment and don't forget to turn on your post notification bell so you can be notified whenever new content like these are out, showcasing massive development across Jamaica. Until next time, my wonderful viewers and subscribers, thank you for watching.
Brought to you by First Graduate. Follow us on all social media platforms.